and you look young and very active. We know you have many decades of experience playing different musical genres, countries, and situations. How was that journey for you, and why do you think you embarked on so many changes?
The journey has been great for me so far, and I've been very lucky, but also contribute a lot of the success or longevity of my career to my work ethic. I work very hard. And I think you mentioned I look young and active. I am not young, but I'm very active.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah.
I try to, I'm a bit of a workaholic. I love what I do, so I do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do work, I think more than other people. I have very strict schedules, and I have a real desire to get things done. And it's impossible for me to be inactive.
Mm-hmm.
I always need something to work towards and a goal to achieve. This is sort of the driving force behind what I do, and it's been the case throughout my whole playing career. And I think if I can give anybody any advice, then it's that, try to find something that you love doing, because then it's not a job, it's a passion, and you can live it every day, and it makes you happy. And I think if you're happy and fulfilled, then it shows also physically, in your appearance. I think most of the people I know who are who look way younger than they are,
Mm-hmm.
they do something they really love. It seems to be the parallel between all the young-looking old people I know.
That's important, yes.
Yeah.
And how relevant do you think is or should be the fact of planning for a musician?
I think not just for a musician, for anybody, this is a very important thing. If you want to get from A to B efficiently and quickly and safely, you need a map, and a map is a plan. So the the um, the same goes for any other goal, any other destination that you're trying to reach. You have to have a plan that takes you from where you are today to where you want to be efficiently, without any detours, and safely, and in the shortest time possible. I
Yeah,
think it's super important.
okay. You have been granted several awards as a clinician for your amazing DVDs and educator skills deployed both on your tours and on your website thomaslangstrumuniverse.com. Let's talk about your first DVD, Creative Control, and your second DVD, Creative Coordination. I know you had quite a busy schedule during that time. How did you manage to prepare yourself for those first DVDs, and how much time did you end up dedicating to each of them? What aroused your interest to carry out such tasks?
Yes, it was a very busy time. I think on the first DVD, I spent 2 days of filming.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very short time, including setting up, sound checking, lighting, and so on. I had 2 days.
Mm.
And with the second DVD with creative coordination, I think I spent 3 days filming. So not very much time. I had zero time to prepare when I did my first DVD, Creative Control. I just walked in with a little book of notes.
Yeah,
Uh,
really?
yeah,
Wow.
I kind of
Wow.
knew. Yeah, I had no real script or anything prepared. I knew what I was going to talk about, because I had done some clinics at that point and knew what people were interested in, and I kind of knew from experience what people kind of enjoyed in my playing and about my playing. So I focused on those things, and I covered stuff that was easy to cover for me at a stressful shoot with very little time. So I went in pretty much, well, unprepared in the sense that I didn't really have a script to follow or anything like that. It was very kind of off the cuff, but I was very confident in what I was going to do, because it wasn't the first time I was doing it. It was the first time on film or on camera, but not the first time that I'd actually performed these exercises and so on. The second time, I actually wrote out a script, and I had a much clearer plan of what I wanted to do, which was important because the material in the second DVD in creative coordination is much more complex, and it's very much organized in certain steps that build on each other and so on. So I worked about 2 months on the script and on preparing all the exercises and transcriptions for the shoot. And then we shot for 3 days in upstate New York. And then it went to post-production, which took probably about 2 or 3 months. But my active part in it, the shooting, was only 3 days. And before that, about 2 months, I prepared for the shoot. I prepared the script and all the things I wanted to say between exercises, and of course, all the exercises specifically. But there was no other preparation other than that. I mean, I didn't really have the time to go and play through all the exercises. All that happened at the shoot.
Wow, I'm impressed.
It's time is always very limited at these shoots. You'd be surprised how little time there is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Now it's very different because people do a lot of this kind of filming at home or in studios that they have access to all the time. But at the time, and these videos are, quite a few years old now, you just book a place and time is of the essence, and it was very, very limited at the time.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
And how much time does it take you to learn the new material needed for tours and recordings? As an example, we would love to hear about those details regarding your recent DW TV show tour with Virgil.
Okay. Well, how much time does it take to learn new material for a tour or for recordings? It depends, of course, on the complexity of the material. Sometimes, if it's a standard middle of the road type music, pop music, Western kind of commercial music, sometimes I'll listen to a song once and I'll make a little cheat sheet while I listen to it, or I have a sheet already. Somebody gives me charts, and then I don't have to listen to it. I can just play along to it. And sometimes when I'm recording, it's the first take or the second take usually. It's very quick and easy. It's just a matter of finding the right sound. Maybe I'll change a snare or something. But learning the material is very, very easy. If it's simple material, then there's really no learning required. If it's more complex stuff, and I have to write more complex charts or read more complex charts, then for an album, for example, if it's a complex with like progressive album, I would probably need 3 or 4 days, of learning material and recording it. And I usually do it song by song. I learn the song, I learn the sections for the song, I try to think of something creative to do with these parts, and then record it. And recording is actually not so time consuming. The preparation always takes a lot longer. The playing itself isn't really the sort of bulk of the time spent on it. It's really the preparation, the transcriptions of the music or making a chart. And as you're writing a chart for yourself, you learn the music basically. So it's fairly efficient. And for a tour, I usually, if it's say 25 songs for a tour that I have never played before, usually there is at least a week of intense learning and preparation by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into rehearsals with the band. If there's no rehearsals, then it would be probably a week to 10 days of learning songs, running through them by yourself. And if there's rehearsals with the band, then I would spend about a week on brand new material if it's like 25 songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
the DW tour.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic and fun experience. Virgil and I have been friends for many, many years, probably 25 or more years. And we've always been close and, had not only a really great friendship, but also, respect for each other and for what we do musically. And when Virgil joined DW a few years ago, DW suggested that we should do something together because we are friends and because we play, at a similar level and so on and have a similar approach to playing. And we both thought it was a great idea and we'd love to do it. Only we just didn't have time, for a few years to sync our schedules to make it happen. But this year, thankfully, we were able to find some time and we pulled it off. And we wrote songs. Each one of us wrote some songs individually, and then we brought them to rehearsals. And then they were specifically composed for this tour, with us both playing each song in mind. And we rehearsed for a few days at Drum Channel here at the Drum Workshop Factory in Los Angeles. We both live here in Los Angeles. And then we took it on the road. We went to Australia, Indonesia, Philippines, Japan, all over the place, and had a really fantastic time. And, I'm a big fan of Virgil's. He's a good friend, and I love hanging out with him. And of course, playing is always exciting and inspiring, and we can trade off each other and inspire each other and steal each other's ideas and just have fun with drums, at a very high level. And that's always a really wonderful experience.
Yeah. Two killer drummers.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely great.
Amazing.
And it was amazing to have Drum Workshop sort of support our sort of creative process and this whole adventure, it cost them a lot of money and time and effort to make it happen, but they really committed to it. And Virgil and I are very, very grateful for their input and their initiative to make this happen. It's great.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it wouldn't work any other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is believed that every musician faces a trade-off between working on their own projects and being a hired gun. What would you say are the pros and the cons of each proposal?
Well, I have this conversation with colleagues all the time. It really depends on what you want, and there's nothing wrong with either one. Doing your own projects requires a lot more work and time and effort. And, you have to not only take care of all the music, the writing, the production, the mastering, the sale, the promotion, then the touring, equipment, flights, travel, fees for musicians and so on. It's a huge amount of work, which if you do it alone is not only a full-time job, you're working for 10 people. You're working 20 hours a day. But if it works and you get to play and perform your own music, it's the most satisfying and most incredibly uplifting, feeling ever. As a sideman, usually you don't write the music, you don't produce the music, you don't mix it, you don't sell it, you don't publicize it. You just show up and play somebody else's music, whether you like it or not, And creatively, of course, that's not as satisfying. Um, it's you have to be very disciplined and agree to a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't want to agree to in your own work environment. So, you have to be a lot more passive and also make a lot more compromises creatively. But it's much easier work, and uh, you get to work with great artists and great musicians and maybe, travel if you're with a successful band and see the world. And it's a wonderful job to have. But of course, creatively and musically, maybe not as satisfying as doing your own thing. And then, it's up to you to decide what you want out of your life and what you want your life to be. Do you want to work 20 hours a day to have that musical and creative satisfaction? Or, do you want to make compromises, maybe not play exactly the music you like, but have a easier life and maybe more spare time and more time to spend with your family and do other things? And that's up for everybody to decide.
Cool. Yeah. Besides the drumming sphere, what can you tell us about your less known hobbies? Are you an avid reader? Do you have a favorite movie genre that you enjoy often?
Um, well, I have many hobbies. Yes, I am an avid reader. I love reading, and I love reading fact, not fiction. I love reading a lot of scientific books, and I'm totally into physics.
Yeah.
I'm into anything that this has to do with science
Like
and
Neil
technology.
deGrasse Tyson, all that style?
Also, yes, absolutely. And I read a lot when I have time. Absolutely. Um, any specific genres of movies you asked? I like documentaries also. And I like, when I watch TV, I watch the Science Channel or the History Channel or a Smithsonian Channel. I like information and I like facts and I like that for information and inspiration. I like to live in the world of facts rather than fiction. And if it's no, like I said earlier, it's hard for me to do nothing.
Yeah.
And so, even when I watch TV, I have to do something on the side. I'm usually working while the TV's on, or I'm practicing or something. So I like to get several dimensions of information, and work done. I think if I'm working on my computer or answering emails and watching something, you know, interesting on the History Channel, I get two, layers of work done basically. And
So,
if I want to do nothing, I go and watch some superhero movies with my kids. We're into kind of sci-fi and adventure movies, of course. I have two
yeah.
boys, and that's fun, and I like that kind of genre because it's just fun and entertaining, and it's a fun ride.
Yeah. Sounds funny.
So sci-fi adventure, I'm in.
Right. And which would you say are your drums heroes from today and all times?
Well, drum heroes of all time: Buddy Rich, Ringo Starr, Max Roach, Tony Williams, Billy Cobham, Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Gadd, Mickey Curry, Joe Porcaro, Jeff Porcaro. Wow. And the
That's
list goes
enough.
on.
Yeah.
Everybody from Weckel to Terry Bozzio, Stuart Copeland, and many, many, many more. Those are my heroes and the drummers I grew up with. And like Ian Pace, John Bonham, of course, Bill Ward, a lot
Yeah.
of heavy rock drummers. Cozy Powell was a huge influence, Tommy Aldridge. And today, I think there are the drummers I like today, they're all friends of mine, and I love, of course, Virgil's playing. I like, Matt Garskar, Gergo Borlai. I love Stanton Moore. Love, Aaron Spears, Chris Coleman, uh, Eric Moore. There's so many great players out there now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all of them, and I find all of them exciting and inspiring and fun to watch. And I'm a fanboy today of all these great players, just like I was when I was 5 years old with Buddy Rich.
Yeah. Okay, Thomas. It's been a great time talking to you. I have two more questions for you,
Okay.
and then the fun is over.
All right.
um, what legacy do you think you are leaving to future generations?
What legacy? Well, I I hope that my legacy will be sort of the ambition to really play freely with both hands and feet. To look at the instrument at the drum set as one instrument, not sort of an assembly of 15 different instruments that are played sort of randomly in a very standard, or not randomly, but in a very standard sort of configuration and rhythms and structures. But maybe my legacy, I hope, will be that there are new ways of looking at rhythm and layers of beats and drum composition within a commercial music context, and that there are many new avenues to be discovered. And maybe I can set a few drummers of the next generation on a path to think that way and really develop the instrument further and take it further, take it to a new level, play more complex rhythms that don't have to sound complicated, but that involve more of your whole body, that involve independence and coordination as much as regular hand and foot technique, and that can help people create some really innovative, modern, new, cutting-edge, high-end drumming structures and rhythms.
Yeah, it sounds truly inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. And the last question. You have a big heart and true love for promoting, teaching, and playing drums. What would you say is your driving force?
My love for the instrument. I love the drums. I love music, and I love playing, and I like everything that's associated with music and playing, which is, of course, also other players, and especially also people who want to learn to play. So my ambition and motivation to teach and to share comes also from my desire to learn myself and continue to grow. Because every time you teach something, you learn something new about yourself and how you look at things and how you process things. So teaching is a way of learning for me too. And I'm always on a path of learning and improving. And that, I think, is the motivation behind everything with me. It's my desire to improve and to learn and to develop new things and new ideas and to keep getting better. And that involves playing, different styles of music, writing my own music, experimenting with the instrument and with music, and also teaching and sharing it, because that's a way of learning for me as well.
All right, Thomas. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for being our guest today. Keep doing your thing, as we would love to hear upcoming news from you.
Thank you, Andres.
See you soon,
Very
Thomas.
nice to talk to you. Take care. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bueno, y así fue la nota con Thomas. él desde Los Ángeles, acá nosotros desde Córdoba. Les cuento una anécdota rápida. Thomas se había olvidado la contraseña de su cuenta de Skype porque me decía que hace mucho que no lo usaba. Y me dice, no te hagas problema, me hago una cuenta nueva para que podamos hacer la nota. O sea, para que vean un pequeño gesto de un gran artista y la humildad de un grande, digamos. Prácticamente no hay ego al lado de varias otras figuras que uno ve en el mundo del espectáculo, así que es algo digno de resaltar eso. Así que bueno, esperamos tener la próxima nota lo más pronto posible, por supuesto, siempre y cuando el tiempo lo permita. Así que estamos en el camino y nos vemos en la próxima.